the window had been busted out and part of our gear had been stolen.
There's nowhere to play up here at all.
I'm sitting there kind of by myself, like waiting for my manners, and the mirrors, like the mirrors kind of like spin open like 90 degrees, like they kind of rotate open, and all these women in sexy lingerie can come walking out from behind the mirrors.
I'm just going to throw this out there that it almost sounded like you were kind of the dark side sometimes of the scene.
Just when I'd parted ways with Monuments, and so it was really, really desperate time of my life.
At the end of it, our bass player told us, like, he just looked at us and like, yeah, this is my last show.
So, like, basically back to the Beast era.
Dealing with this alcohol intake, and we're at a Christian festival, and we're supposed to be a Christian band. I was kind of like, man, this sucks. This is not a good look.
Welcome back to Dark Side of the Scene. I'm your host, Brandon, alongside Ed.
My voice is barely awake, so I'm probably going to sound deeper and stupider than normal.
It is very early again, which I'm usually been awake at this point for like 4 or 5 hours, but
Gross.
for some reason, everyone in the house slept until 9 a.m. today.
Yeah, I had some crazy storms. Like, that was wild. It was just thundering, shaking the house. I'm like, we have PTSD.
Yeah, I woke
storms.
up at some point. Thunder sounded like it was literally right on top of us, but it woke my ass up, and then I heard some more, and then I went back to sleep and don't know what else happened.
Right. I went to this bar last night, and I had a friend visiting from town, and it's mainly a cover band bar, so I'm not about that scene, but I was hanging out in the patio, and I think the owner and a friend of his, they play acoustic covers, which I could do with that because, you know, it's loud enough I could talk to people. But I randomly just met a couple that just moved here from Alabama, and I don't know what got started. I think he was just asking me, like, they like music, but they asked if there's like any original venues. I'm like, my kind of people. So I was like, just telling them like where some are. Then I just told them about my band and shit. And I don't know, it's kind of interesting how you just meet random people from somewhere else, and you kind of have like common things. Then he plays guitar and he likes metal. So it's like, that's kind of all the random places you meet people. So hopefully him and his wife come out to one of our shows and like see us, because they're looking for things to do around the area where they moved. So that's not real. What's that?
I was gonna say, a guy that used to be my boss when I worked somewhere else, I ran into him up at the same place, and we were talking the other day, and he said he was going to be going to a Dark Lord festival. I never knew he was really a metal fan. But he said Cannibal Corpse was playing and a couple other ones. I was like, you do not look like the guy that would like metal, just based off what I know of him.
Right. Like, it's kind of weird. Like, people, it's like a dirty secret for some people.
Yeah. But he told me before, I know I gave him one of the TMD CDs because he'd mentioned stuff that he did like metal. He just never appeared to look like anyone like that. And he'd sent me an email telling me what songs he liked from it or whatever. But it's funny because like he's like the head of this entire division that I worked for. He just does not look like someone that would enjoy metal.
Yeah, it's yeah.
But we were talking about that, and when I left work, I was just thinking about it. I was like, this is very strange that he's going to go see Cannibal Corpse. I was like, he did not look like someone that would even know who Cannibal Corpse is.
Yeah. I mean, I guess basically the underlying story about this is like, it's sad there's like not a lot of places, at least in our area, where people want to see original music. There are people out there. It's not just like I'm going to go every weekend to go see a cover band because that's my thing, but it's just kind of cool that there are people like that support original music. You may not know it, you know. So it's not really rant. I'm just kind of sharing that it's kind of interesting how you meet different people from all walks of life.
No, definitely. we've got someone that's already waiting, and the reason we're up early today is because they're from overseas. I believe
Right.
I'm not 100% sure. I believe it's either the UK or Ireland or somewhere that way, Scotland. I don't know those areas. I'm terrible
We'll
knowing
find
locations.
out. We'll find out in case we insult him.
Yeah. I don't know how they are about their geographic locations. But anyways, if you want to be on Dark Side of the Scene, send an email to Brandon at darksideofthescene.com and we will get you scheduled on a future episode. But we're going to go ahead and bring Chris on in. So sit back and we'll be back in a few minutes. I'd like to take the time to welcome our guest today, Chris. Chris, thanks for coming out and talking to Ed and I.
Yeah, no problem, man. Just for having me on. It should be a lot of fun.
Chris. Where are you from, Chris?
I am from Dunfermline, Scotland. I don't know if anyone will know where that is.
By your accent, I would assume you're from Scotland.
Right, right.
Yeah.
Yeah, so Dunfermline is it only just got upgraded to a city. It's a kind of small place. It's I don't know if you know where Edinburgh is. It's kind of near Edinburgh. It's like the kind of go-to fact about Dunfermline. It's near somewhere you've heard of.
Probably haven't heard of those names since school when they made you study that stuff. It's like I would never go there. Why am I learning about this?
I
Gotcha.
go to Scotland, man. Scotland's nice.
That's what I heard. It's like really nice out there, though.
I would
Someday.
love to go over the different countries and everything, but realistically, most us Americans can't ever afford to do stuff like that.
Not
I heard
really.
an interesting fact about Americans. Apparently, a large percentage of America don't have passports.
That is true.
Me.
I guess America is so big though that flying from one end to the other is kind of like a flight to Europe.
Yeah, it takes, I think from one side, it is like 2,500, almost 3,000 miles, some shit like
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
That blew my mind when I found out so many people didn't have a passport. I guess I know it's expensive to have a passport. Like that's a one-off cost is quite high, but I guess in Scotland, like you're so close to mainland Europe that it takes like 2 hours to fly to like Germany or something. So the incentive to have a passport is probably quite high.
Yeah.
I'd rather just live out there because you got all the cool countries around you. So that's my Finland, Sweden, you know. Yeah. So what? Sorry, I interrupt you.
I was just gonna say, so what band are you from and what music do you play and stuff, like a little bit about yourself?
Yeah.
Oh man, that's completely correct. So I play bass in a band called Party Cannon. We play slam death metal. We've been on the go since 2010.
Oh. Damn.
Nice.
You've been around. Hell yeah. You gotta have stories, I'm pretty sure. I'm gonna get them out of you. You know this.
Yeah, like I don't know if I have like fun stories about being on tour, how it's like kind of like sketchy and stuff. But actual stories of being like really fucked over. Not too many. I think we're a bit luckier that way, but I'm sure we'll find a few where I'll be like, wait a minute, I did get fucked over and didn't realize it.
So
Yeah, it happens to everyone.
so you've gone on tour, I take it,
Yeah, we've toured a bunch. Man. We've
and you've been over
been all
here.
over the place. We've been to America 3 times.
Nice. Oh yeah. So I guess we'll start. What is the I don't know the name of like a crazy moment you had on tour?
We played a club in Salt Lake City. And, and after the club night, after the gig had finished, they had this really weird club night on. I say weird, it's fucking awesome. Basically, I think it was some kind of like swim themed club night. So everyone turned up in like bathing suits and stuff, and like some shorts and like bikinis and things, in like Salt Lake City. Like, what the fuck is happening? And they set up this gigantic water slide outside, like in Flyball one. So people just all like slide down and just putting each other like foam and stuff. It was like fucking mental, like a huge mess, but it was a lot of fun. And we're like, yeah, this is pretty mad. And there's like nobody supervising the water slide at all. It's just this inflated thing that's just there. That
Was there water on the
few weeks ago.
inflatable? Was there water on it?
Yeah. There was. So this all sounds very like tame at the moment, but it gets really out of hand. It was always like my go-to story as well because it was fucking so dumb, man. It got to the point where at night people had like getting more drunk and stuff and getting a bit more rowdy. So eventually, one person going to water slide, and two people going to water slide, and eventually some like six or seven people try to get on at once, and the thing folded over on itself. I got so I can't take six adults, but the way it folded over was there was like stone stairs, like a railing leading up to the water slide, and when it folded over, it went over the railing, so people were kind of like trapped inside it and like falling about like on like concrete and things. Just people like so trapped in it, like the water and stuff was just making just kind of like pressure valve or whatever. Like they couldn't get themselves out. Like their legs were literally stuck and their body like hanging out, and like literally like a fucking full on disaster. So I remember I was talking to some lady and I was like, sorry, I need to get back in a minute. I need to go help these people who are fucking trapped in this giant inflatable water slide who are literally in pain. So I remember how to grab this guy like under his arms and I can like try and pull him out. And he's like really stuck in there. The more I pulled him, like more pain he was like in. I was like, the only way he's like gonna get out of this fucking slide. And eventually we managed to get like 5 out of 6 of the people out of this like fucked up slide. And when it reinflated, it shot one person like in the air. Like it reinflated like really violently. So it just shot this guy in the air and it kinda like got all the airtime, but then he just landed on the slide again and went down. Then everyone just started clapping, kind of went back to partying.
Oh boy, bunch of drunks, American drunks.
Yeah, it was fucking mad.
That is
we were on
random.
tour of a band called we were on tour of a band called Epicardiectomy at that point. And when the slide reinflated, it caught in the guitar player's hand and it broke 2 of his fingers. And he just didn't mention this until the end of the tour. It's like, oh, by the way, I broke my hand in Salt Lake City. It was like a 2-week tour, and that was like day 3 or something like that. Like, should have mentioned this, man. What was going on?
He was still playing.
Yeah. I think it was like a picking hand he broke it on, but it was so stupid, man. It was so fucking dumb.
What the fuck? Killer slide in
man.
Utah. Wow.
That's fun, man. That was like a dumb story.
Yeah.
When I think of Utah, I don't really think of anything for some reason. Like, what do you see? Like here in America, when you see Utah, they just show like this big openness and like they show sunsets and like mountainy looking things like Red Rock and stuff like that. You don't
People still in wagons.
Yeah, you don't think of anything like crazy.
I always think of Utah as like a place of Mormons, but I didn't meet any Mormons.
Yeah, they do supposedly have a huge Mormon colony out there. Not so much colony, but I don't really know why there are so many in Utah, to be honest.
So I was going to ask, so like, when did you start playing? Like at a young age, right? Correct? Like everybody else?
Yeah, it's just, I think I started playing bass when I was like 14. It was like stupid fucking typical thing. It's like,
It's amazing how many bass players we keep getting on here because we keep saying there's a lack of bass players and drummers in the world. So it's kind of cool that
you're right. There is.
Oh, it's out there too, huh?
Yeah, like trying to find a drummer that could like play like 260 BPM blast beats like good.
Damn,
like impossible.
What is the so yeah? What I was getting to as you started playing, like, what's the scene out there where you live? What's it like?
I'd say it's hit and miss, and there's a lot of good local bands and stuff, but they kind of are like there's not a lot of breakthrough like death metal bands in Scotland at least, and there's like a decent local scene. Like if you put on like a local death metal gig, all the same people will show up, and you might get like 50 to 100 people on like a good night.
Nice.
But, yeah, and overall it's small. I'd say it's small anyway. It's not huge. Like there's not a huge amount of bands from Scotland that go on to like tour internationally or get like bigger labels and things like that. But as that kind of local underground scene is, yeah, it's done okay. It's done okay. It's gone better in recent years. There used to be a time where if you put on a demo gig in Scotland, it'd only be like 20, 25 people that turn up.
Yeah, that's still a lot in American stats.
You think?
I don't know. So there's, I guess everybody gets there like 20, 25 people, and it's like considered a good show sometimes. It depends where the place is, though. If it's a big venue, that's sad, but like it's a small dive, like hell yeah.
No, yeah, totally, man. It's all on vibe. Depends what you're doing, but Then the scene here is on the up and up again, I think.
Yeah, I can't imagine like a death metal scene in Scotland, but like again, death metal's everywhere. Huh.
So man, same like there used to be quite a good grindcore scene in Scotland, but that's kind of
Nice.
tapered out recently. Doom metal was a big thing for a long time here.
I could see that just because it's like around the UK and all that.
Yeah, it's so cloudy and overcast all the time. You just want else to do.
Set, yeah. So like basically, how long were you grinding before you guys started getting noticed? Like, did you go like in different countries already or other towns?
Yeah, well, by the time Pargan started, I'd been driving for other bands and I'd just kind of been in the scene for a while, so I kind of knew I had contacts around the place, so I could like hand out and demo. I'd just be all over the place, hand out demos. So our first gig was actually in England, just on a bat. Like I knew that if you wanted to get noticed and stuff, you can't just play your hometown all the time.
Right.
So I was like, right, playing Scotland, playing around where we live, low on the priority list. We'll just straight away start playing other places. So our first gig was in Newcastle. We played to something like 5 paying people. We're supporting a band from Ireland. Our guitarist blew up the amp he was borrowing somehow. So we spent half of our first ever gig watching us from the bar. And, yeah.
Show must go on.
No, definitely. That was a good first gig. Good first introduction to the world of Party Gang.
Did you come back though and like why can't I talk today? Redeem yourself.
Yeah, we went back to Newcastle a few times and it's always been good.
Nice.
But it was good. Definitely like thrown in the deep end there, I'd say. Different country, new place, nothing works. First gig. Yeah. Just decent, man.
Nice. Any other crazy stories as slowly your career's coming up? Like you guys, what, 2010? That's a long time.
Yeah, it was a long time.
Yeah.
We played, we did an Asian tour in 2019.
Nice.
We supported Waking the Ever. It was like one of our reunion tours. And like one of my favorite bands, so that was like a big deal for us. But touring Asia is like really different from touring like America or Europe or like that because you can't just drive places. You have to fly everywhere. So we're not used to this. We are, I think we're getting like 2 or 3 flights a day, every day for like 9 days. Because we started in Thailand. We flew from London to Thailand. So already that's like a 7-hour drive from Scotland to London. Then it was like a 10-hour, 11-hour flight to Thailand, which is all fine of long flights. We landed in the morning. Then we played the first gig that night in Thailand. Then the next day was the Philippines. I had to get flight in Philippines. Played in this like warehouse that didn't have any like yeah, played in this like kind of warehouse area, warehouse like I had like stalls and food outside it for fucking amazing. And I remember the power kept going off during our set, but it was still good. Then we had to get 2 flights from there to another part of the Philippines that night. Then from there it was like another 1 or 2 flights to Korea. As I wanted to space like a few days. So it was like playing, going to the airport, flying, then getting 2 flights, arriving in the country, playing again, having a shower somewhere, getting back in flights. Flew from Korea, then flew to China. Then we had to get a flight from China to Japan. Then we got this like overnight bus while in Japan from Osaka to Tokyo to play in 2 gigs. And yeah, I think we got like 14, 15 flights in like a week. But I think the maddest thing that happened there was there's some kind of typhoon while we're in the Philippines. And so after the set, we're like, right, we need to get to the airport now or else everyone's going to flood. So we got this guy's van and he was driving at like 100 miles an hour to the airport. And it was like the most like insane rain I've ever been in my life. We went under this tunnel at one point and the tunnel was completely flooded. Like the water was like so deep that it was like kind of splashing up and coming in the windows and things like that. I think this is fucking scary. And there's like fork lightning everywhere. And there's cars like swerving all the road and shit. Like this is terrifying, man. It's like the closest I've ever been to an actual like fucking full-on tornado.
No shit. And you still made it, huh?
Oh yeah, so many stuff. It's fucking dumb, man.
Damn. And,
you mentioned tornadoes. Do you guys get tornadoes? I know it's not on Banta, but do you get tornadoes in Scotland, England area.
No, we don't. As far as natural disasters go, it's very tame. Like we don't really get anything like that. Like I'm so removed from the idea of a tornado. But if I saw one, I wouldn't think it was real.
Yeah,
If we get- yeah.
we get them quite often in our area.
When we played Miami, we had to drive really fast to avoid a hurricane. Like the hurricane was like a little bit behind us, so while we were driving, we could see the rain come in behind us from this hurricane. So we just had to keep going until we reached like the next venue to try and
Jeez.
outdrive this hurricane.
Man, you guys really are a party cannon.
Yeah. Just,
Where did
What's
you
the-
guys
oh,
come
it's
up?
all-
Yeah,
Is that
what's
where
with
you-
the name?
How'd you guys come up with the name Party Cannon?
so the way it kind of worked was obviously like Bro Depo, like grindcore and stuff. We liked like grindcore bands that had a bit more tongue-in-cheek approach, like Weekend Nachos, Neptune Genuine, Spaz, and things like that. Kind of want to combine that with like death metal and partying, because when you like play like festivals in Europe, people are just want to party, like they already turn up like with fucking inflatables and shit like that. It's like cool. That's kind of seen one. And our singer told us this really long story about how he bought this thing called a party cannon that cost him like £15 for his like dad's birthday, and it was meant to like explode like fart. And when it came time, like he pulled the cord out of it and nothing happened, and he's like really disappointed. Like, and we thought it was just hilarious for some reason, so we just decided to call the band Party Cannon, and here we are,
Yeah,
13 years later.
It's pretty catchy though. I mean, like,
It
You
is
wouldn't think.
memorable. Yeah, like unintentional marketing genius. Like, yeah, people keep asking me, like, oh, I'll keep saying that's genius what you did with the logo and stuff. It's like, if I meant to do that, if I was that smart, I would not work a 9-to-5 desk job.
right? I mean,
Yeah.
it reminds me of like, sorry.
I would say you always stand out when I see your guys on flyers for like these festivals or whatever. Like everyone else has the typical, can't really make out what their logo is and like can't really read what it says. And you got Party Cannons, kind of got like the nice bright color, like rainbowy colors to it, and it's easy to read. I was like, it doesn't look like the
saying.
type of band that would fit in.
Unintentional marketing genius. If only I was actually that smart.
Right. I mean, I feel like Ailstorm is the same way because they're kind of a party pirate band with the good rubber ducks and shit.
Yeah, they're from Perth, which is pretty close to where we're from.
Oh no shit. Yeah, yeah, they are. I always think I don't know why I thought they were Italian. I'm not sure why. I'm a dumbass.
I mean, how many Scottish pirates do you ever meet?
I'd no none.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So I mean,
It works
yeah,
for
interesting band.
I'm surprised you guys haven't played together.
No, they don't. There's not really much crossover. I think we probably really played together. It was like a huge festival going on.
Mm,
Yeah, they had like some controversy recently as well. So I don't know if that's all blown over yet. But
I didn't know about that. I guess I have to look that up. But anyway.
Seems there's a lot of bands lately that's been coming up with controversy that comes out of nowhere.
yeah, I don't think we've ever ran into anything bad. At least I hope not. Anyway, we've had people accuse us of things that just not been true, and been kind of pretty debunkable. Like when I think everyone's seen the flyer of us at Buried Death Fest 2015, and like our logo like stands out. It was like on like BuzzFeed and things. It went really viral for like one day for some reason. Like I was interviewed in loads of papers and stuff. Someone tried to claim we played our wedding in Santa Cruz, California, and we turned up and we were really anti-Semitic and things like that, and we we're just super homophobic, which is mad as fuck because I have been to Santa Cruz, but the only part of Santa Cruz I saw was my friend Parker's house and garage, and the story was like, oh, the bass player was really anti-Semitic, and he brought me like cherry tomatoes from his garden that he grew himself. I was like, well, I live in Scotland. Why would I import cherry tomatoes from Scotland all the way to Santa Cruz so it could then just be really racist at your wedding that you hired a Scottish band to play? What the fuck are you talking about?
That makes no
And this
fucking
big-
sense.
It was wild. It was fucking insane. Like, we started getting all these YouTube comments being like, "Why'd you hate Jews?" It's like, I don't hate Jews. Like in Scotland, you don't really meet many Jewish people. Why would I even have an opinion on this? Like, this is insane. Then it turned out this guy was just making up the story that we played his fucking wedding and just went on about hating Jewish people.
Man, you would have sued. You should
So-
sued his ass.
Like our guitarist. So I'm not on Reddit. I don't really know how to use it. I'm a fucking old man like that, but our guitarist, he's pretty like savvy with all that. So he went on Reddit and he debunked the whole thing. He had to post like a picture of his face and the backstage pass he had at Very Deafest and things like. It's quite funny. Like he started his comment saying not to call you out, but what you said is completely wrong. So he kind of went not to call you out, then proceeded to call the guy out, just like you are lying and saying we're racist and played your wedding, and none of these things are true.
Pretty shitty.
Yeah.
Wow.
What else did someone accuse of? Someone said someone on Instagram claimed we were transphobic. I have no idea where that came from. Like, I remember like messaging like, "Hey man, why are you saying this?" Then he just like blocked me and deleted everything. I was like, "Okay."
What
That's
the
really
fuck?
bizarre.
I mean, yeah, you're right. How can a Scottish band be even remotely from anti-Semitic? When you're trying to get out of your own country to play all sorts of places. Wow. Yeah, that doesn't make sense. Yeah, people are stupid.
People are weird, man. I think they just thrive on fucking
I mean,
saying shit online.
That's a whole nother topic in itself. Like all these crazy people. Like I'm not saying like what's happening with all these bands is false information, but it's like been a thing lately, and it's like, man, what band is next that quote unquote has done, bad activities?
And the problem
No,
is
sure,
when shit like this happens, more so lately because of and that's not to get negative feedback on us, but I just know, I'm pretty sure it was Between the Buried and Me. One of their guys has been accused of rape. And I'm not saying he did or didn't. And I wasn't there. I don't know the situation. But there's been a lot of other things, accusations brought up against other band people in different various bands. And it doesn't matter if it happened or not. Like they're automatically, at least the way I see it, they're guilty without even having any definitive proof or anything against any of these accusations, because it already taints their image in the band, their association. Like it puts that negativity on them, whether it's true or not. It's hard to escape that.
Yeah, no, I get your point. Like even if you prove it's not true, just getting, I think just having an association, and even if you prove it's not true, trying to get the fact you prove it's not true out there can be kind of hard. But I think the only way you can really do is just keep your head down. Don't screw anyone over. Just kind of keep going. Take things with as they come.
Right.
The world of social media and the internet and everything else has made it easy for bands to communicate. I think like a little bit easier to try and get things booked, but it also gave a voice to people that just want to go out there and destroy stuff for people for no damn reason.
No, absolutely. Like the amount of people I've met online have just been absolutely feral for no reason. They just like believe like insane things. I just want to attribute things like people think everything's like some kind of government cover up, or everyone thinks something's some kind of satanic ritual, things like that. Like, oh, I've met so many of them in the recent years. It's been kind of mad.
Yeah. Well, we're small time. We don't get that satanic money. We're not satanic. We don't get that Illuminati money. Anyway, I can't even say it. Illuminati money. I'm probably gonna get
The
flagged.
same money will come in at some point now.
Yeah, right. I'm good with that. But I was gonna say, so what? You were laughing. Yeah.
One of my old bandmates bought a satanic Bible years ago because he was trying to get satanic money, try to get the band famous. He said he's gonna sell his soul. I was like, well, here we are 10 years later. We've never amounted to anything, so I don't think that worked.
You didn't do it right. You had to like read it backwards in a tub of like chicken blood. There's other things you had to do. You fucked up, man.
I didn't do it.
One of you fucked up. So I'm gonna bring the controversial topic. So during the Beast era, when all lockdown, everything, and considering you've been a band since 2010, how did that affect you guys once that happened, the lockdowns and the BS?
So I'd say we're pretty fortunate in some regards compared to some other people, because we all still have like full-time jobs and stuff. Most of us could still work from home. We didn't really lose like a huge amount of income. Obviously, it's still the band. We had a lot of cool band plans. Like we were going to go back to America at a point. We had, it was like business as usual until that happened. So we had like a full year of gigs, and even like full 2 years of gigs, just like gone like instantly, just from, like you said, the Beast. Yeah, so that kind of sucked. But we kind of since we weren't in like the worst position we could be, like I had friends like losing their jobs and stuff. You people, family members are dying and things. It was we were definitely more lucky than some others, I'd say. But we kind of kept the band rolling. Like at that point, we're still self-managed, so I was like still booking on the gigs, and I was still dealing with all social media and marketing and things like that. So I figured, let's just keep booking stuff in line with the government guidelines. So the government reckons this phase will enter these months. Let's keep booking gigs for those months, and if they get cancelled, they get cancelled. If they don't get cancelled, we're ahead of the curve, and that eventually worked out for us because we ended up being the first no restrictions, all standing metal tour in like over a year in the UK. We played the first tour in the UK on the week restrictions lifted completely.
Wow. How did that go?
Very well. Like I think all the gigs sold out.
You didn't get shit for it though. Like, well, you're not supposed to be doing that.
No, not at that point. Like because all the restrictions were lifted. So
okay, just make sure.
Yeah. Absolutely. I was like, as soon as I was like the week restrictions lifted, we got really lucky because we booked. It's really weird. We booked the tour like quite far in advance, and restrictions went to lift in June, and then they got delayed to July, to the week of the tour. Yeah. So it was just by chance it happened to be that week. People were calling it like Freedom Week and stuff. It was mad. It was like mad timing, but no one really gave shit for that. I think about that point.
Yeah.
Everybody had enough. Everyone was.
So you had they were all sold out then of your show.
Yeah, that was great. It was like an absolute like wild ride, man. But we went through. It was only like 3 or 4 dates, and we managed to write off 3 vans on that entire tour. Like we hired one van, and on the way to us, it burst into flames. So we're like, right, we're not taking this van anymore. So
somebody punishing you.
That's what it feels like, man. Being in a band and touring, especially like when we're self-managed things, it just felt like the universe was constantly punishing us for wanting to play gigs. Because like you'd get things in line, then last minute there'd be some kind of unforeseeable major fuck up that no one could control, and this would just keep happening over and over again. You just had to keep pulling things out of your ass to try and make things work. Yeah. It's like, God, all I want to do, man, is stand on stage and play my nonsense songs, and shit like this keeps happening. But yeah, so we got another van, and it was like completely covered in stickers. It was really, really weird. The guy just covered the entire van in random stickers. Like, this van is weird, but it'll work. And I got to the next venue, then that stopped working. So eventually, I had to phone up another guy to come save us and just leave this van in a different city. And like, all right, you need to come get your van. It stopped working again. And that's just over for 4 days, man. Like 3 or 4 days. Like, how many vans do you need? It's like almost a van per gig at that point.
They're lack of mechanics, I guess.
Yeah, I kind of felt like, even though it was like a short tour, it made up for the whole lockdown. I went through the entire spectrum of touring emotions in that like short weekend of gigs.
How did that feel? Like the first few shows, like how did that feel to finally play out after just waiting for something?
I'd say it's very cathartic in a way, because as soon as we hit like a first note, like it was weird going on stage, plug it in, and like checking, like, okay, this all works. We're actually about to do this. That felt kind of weird. But as soon as you hit the first note, and everyone's like fucking going insane, like, yeah, this is right. Everyone's into this. It just kind of felt right. It was kind of a bit of a blur. Surreal, cathartic. It was just, yeah, it felt right though. Like it's like half through the set, it felt like there's like no time away at all. It's just where you're meant to be.
Nice. And yeah, so you said you manage and do everything for the band?
Yes, until recently I did. So for the first 10 or so years of Party Cannon, I was managing the band and I was booking on the gigs and starting on the tours, dealing with that stuff. Writing most songs, just doing on driving and things, just kind of make sure it all worked. But eventually, we got booked onto this festival called Bloodstock Festival in 2021 in the UK, and that's like one of the biggest festivals in the UK. It's like 17 to 20,000 people.
Yeah,
and I was like the first one after lockdown as well, so it was going to be absolutely rammed, and it's going to be like a big deal. And they don't usually book underground brutal death metal bands as well, so the fact that we're playing that in the first place on a good slot on one of the big stages as well, like we're on the poster with like Devin Townsend and bands like that, was like a big deal for like just UK death metal, I guess. And the BBC were even going to include us in their documentary and things. I was like, and every day I was getting messages from people being like, I can't wait to see Party Cannon's festival. I've been stocking up on inflatables and things. like great, awesome. This is gonna be a good gig for us. It's gonna be hype. Then something like 2 or 3 days before we were meant to play, our drummer got the beast. He came
Oh.
down with it. Yeah, so we had to pull out. And at that point, I was like, "That is it. I'm done with the band. Fuck this."
Oh.
I didn't talk about bandmates for like. This is what no one ever warned you about. Being like a DIY band, it's such like a huge emotional toll in your body, and it takes like so much time. Like, I was like, "Fuck this." I didn't talk about band members for like 5 days. I mean, I can't be angry at them for being ill. I just that thing where it felt like the universe is against me.
Yeah.
And I was like, "Fuck this, not do this anymore." Fucking, I was like, all my spare time I've had in the past 10 years has gone into like booking and managing a band, and I kind of felt like it was coming to this moment, and I just kind of down the drain straight away, just like flushed that gone. It's like fuck this. So then after 5 days of having a proper like hissy fit, I went, right, here's what we're gonna do. I'm gonna let someone else do this. It's about time we hire someone who actually knows what they're doing. And get an actual booking agent who has contracts and things like that, who can actually book us decent gigs with people who aren't like drug addicts and stuff. And yeah, you get some like good tours. And if we have to cancel any of them, he'll have enough contacts that he'll be able to get us some other gigs. I wouldn't just be like, oh, Pargan's down the drain. So yeah, I guess the whole thing. That was like a whole thing, man.
And that's fucking stressful, man. Like having to do all that shit for that long, and then yeah, I'm sure it was justifiable for you to crack. I mean, yeah,
I think
I'm yeah.
There'll be a lot of people listening to this who manage their own bands and stuff and gone through the same things. Like, oh yeah, I totally get what you mean.
Yeah, I kind of do that with my band, and we're just small scale piece of shit. But like, I don't like doing any of that. I really don't. I don't like talking to. I mean, if I already know the promoter or whoever the venue, it's cool. But like trying to talk to new people and then waiting for them to come back. Like right now, I currently I'm supposed to do a show here soon on the 20th, and I still have no information, no flyer, and it's like almost about 2 weeks. That does not give me time. That does not give me time to promote the small place or what it is. And at this point, I'm like, I'm more worried about the show we're doing previously, because we're supposed to be like open for Bad Wolves, but like I'd rather do that and worry about that than worry about the small time person who doesn't want to get back with me. It's like, oh, I can't imagine on the scale you were doing having to deal with that kind of shit. No, hell no.
Yeah, so yeah, again. But the fun thing about having like a booking agent and stuff now is they deal with it. They contract things out, so I don't need to worry about that. If, someone's on their job, someone else will chase. But my logic was that's their full-time job, whereas I work full-time and I ain't always doing the band. So if someone whose actual full-time job is like book gigs and things, they'll do a better job of it, and they'll make things that are in line. And if they're getting like a percentage of each gig, like incentive for them to like make it work. Whereas I wasn't like getting paid to do it. I was
right
in the band. Yeah, it was just something I did because I loved in the band.
So may I ask, what do you do on the side for work?
I just work in an office, man. Like I manage like an office.
Oh, and so like
yeah,
work is pretty like lenient for you to just go on tour and play with the band, and basically.
Yeah, pretty much, man. Like I can work remotely and things, so I can take X amount of like paid leave off, and I can take like unpaid leave and things. But since I can work remotely, if we're playing UK gigs, I can just go to another branch of my office and work there, then go play the gig. So I can still like travel and work, which is very helpful for the kind of stuff we're doing.
Nice. Yeah, I feel like a lot of people can't do what you do unless they actually have that kind of job. At the most, people could take like 2 weeks off, but
yeah,
that's pretty cool. And the rest of the band does the same thing. They're able to do that, or just
for the most part. One of our guitarists works in like retail and fast food, but they're quite flexible. And one of them works for like a youth charity, but they seem to be also quite flexible and like taking things up. Like he teaches like his mountain biking things, so that's very cool. Yeah, something like that. But that's kind of what made the whole lockdown period easier as well, because I knew people who were full-time booking agents and full-time artists and stuff. They were just unemployed pretty much, like straight away. Like that was it. That was all their income gone. You can like get deposits, can get guarantees and things. You had no idea when the industry was going to start up again. So that was them. Whereas for me, I just went to work, wrote some songs, wrote an album, came back a bit stronger. But obviously I had a bit more of a bumper, I think, compared to some other people.
Yeah. And then, so you all live close to each other to practice, or how does the workflow go with your band?
Oh, we don't live close to each other, man. We all live at least an hour away. So 2 times a week, I'll drive through to Glasgow, where our practice studio is, to meet the rest of the band.
Hmm.
And yeah, so that's like 2 hour commute. So the way we write stuff is I have this program called Guitar Pro. I don't actually play guitar. I just know how notes work. So
Yeah.
I can like figure riffs and tab them out. Then I send them to my band members and they can learn them. Then they can take them to the practice studio. Then we can all have like, we can all either know the song by the time we get in and just rehearse together, or we can have ideas on what we want to do and bring the ideas to the practice space. So we're kind of not starting from zero. Because I think that how far away we live from each other, if we just turned up with no clue on how to write a song and tried to like teach each other riffs and stuff there, it's just a massive waste of time. It's like, okay, cool, now I need to drive like an hour home. Especially with the kind of music we play as well, you kind of need some kind of blueprint to work from.
So basically, homework is important.
Yes, exactly. Exactly. That's what I'm saying.
Audience out there, bands listening, homework is fucking important. I know this feeling, but I'm not gonna say as much. Because you're right. Like for instance, my band, we don't have very much time to practice at all. Our schedules are kind of weird. The most we get maybe 3 hours. You really can't accomplish. What was that? Is that a baby? I heard
I'm
something.
sitting in IKEA. Yeah, I'm sitting in the car park with IKEA right now.
I heard a bird and seagulls earlier.
Yeah, yeah. No, I'm just like sitting in my car outside IKEA right now. Yeah.
Anyway, so yeah, like we only got at the most like once a week to practice, maybe at the most 3 hours. Actually today. And like I don't feel like we get much accomplished every time. And I write demos, not because I'm trying to take over the band. It's just like I have song ideas. I'm gonna write shit. And I send it out to them, like, what do you guys think of this stuff? And then I would hope they work on it. I mean, I think some of them work on it at home, but like how we work that's how we work. The homework is important because when we get together, I feel like we screw around more than we actually like play shit. And
Oh
it's
yeah,
like,
big time. Big
I'm
time.
like, this isn't, and I'm all about like writing these songs, as quick as we can because it's important to have so much material because you never know what you'll use when you go to the studio next. And I don't know, I feel like a lot of bands waste time. I mean, if you got a whole day, maybe, but that's not convenient for a lot of people. And I always feel like, yeah, homework is very important. But I mean,
No, definitely. It's
yeah.
about finding out how the best way to maximize like, your workflow and stuff. Because some of our members have like kids and families and things as well.
Yeah,
so we
yeah. Which I
we
get
like
that.
make the most of each step all the time.
Right. But obviously you guys have been doing this for a while, so it's not like, I should say, like it doesn't bring the band down because they got families and other lives. You still got the band, the importance of the band as well.
Yeah, totally. Like, especially in recent years, the band's been doing bigger fests and bigger tours and stuff, and fan base has kind of grown a bit, which we're all very grateful for. But also means that you can kind of justify putting time into it.
Now that I'm listening to you, I'm trying to guess what you look like now. I mean, I'm playing this game, and the audience is gonna slowly guess that I'm playing a game where I try to guess what Chris looks like or whoever guess we have. I feel like you either look like Rutger Hauer, the actor, or Lars Ulrich.
Rutger Hauer, who's he again?
He's some actor from like the 80s.
What was he in? I recognize the name. I guess
Blade Runner is the bad guy.
Yeah, he's the guy who does fuck, he died recently, didn't he?
Yeah,
he just died a couple years ago.
Yeah, I'm talking about the young version of him, not like, oh, I'm not saying you're old or anything.
No, I know what you mean. He's a guy he's a replicant, right? I know what you mean.
Yeah, that guy or Lars Ulrich.
I'd say it probably look more like Rutger Hauer than Lars Ulrich. Oh, I hope so, anyway.
But turn your camera on. This is what we do if I get.
Let's do it. All right.
Sorry.
Here we go.
You look nothing like I thought. You look like my friend Randy. That's funny. No, I was off.
Randy, nice guy.
I was way off.
You've been off every fucking time.
I'm way off.
It's hard. Like, I guess if you hear a Scottish accent, most people think you're gonna look like Groundskeeper Willie or something.
Yeah,
Eric Guitarist looks like Eric Guitarist looks like Groundskeeper Willie. He's a big ginger guy.
I wasn't gonna guess that, but I know like Colin Farrell and all them. Like that's probably what you closest look like. How about that? But I didn't guess that. I just assumed you had blonde hair, and I don't know why. Anyway,
Really? Yeah,
yeah.
no. There's no blonde hair.
All right, you can turn your camera off. That's cool.
Okay.
I
Don't look at
suck,
me.
I suck at this fucking game.
I was into this game, man. Like sometimes you hear people's voices and they look nothing like
No,
what
that's why it's
yeah,
fun
what
to
you
me.
expect.
Because I look like a fucking mass murderer, Saddam Hussein, but I have a stupid voice, so I don't know like what people think of me before they see me talk. And I was telling Brandon, well, I think we both hate the sound of our voices on the record, but
Oh yeah, I absolutely hate hearing my voice back. Like as far as Scottish accents go as well, I have a pretty weird one because my family's like Irish, so it's a bit of a weird mix. Like other people in Scotland think I sound like American.
that's no, I couldn't hear. No, what?
Yeah.
What?
I was just say I don't think you sound like American.
No. I don't think I sound American, but yeah, if you come to Scotland, not everyone has an accent like mine.
But you also have like the UK going, UK accent going, or a little bit of mix. No, you all sound like that.
I guess.
Yeah.
I think my dialect is a bit more like standard English than what you get
Yeah.
in Scotland.
Yeah. Because it's not like super thick, but enough to notice. Anyway, you got any crazy stories? Like, like what about how does things work in the studio for you? You guys get along pretty well. Like, you're not like fucking angry when you're recording an album or like little things that bother. Like, basically, I would assume you and your band get along pretty well on the road and in the studio, obviously.
Yeah, I'd say for the most part. Like obviously bands always butt heads and stuff, and if you're in close quarters with people for a while,
Yeah.
some people can overreact to things. Like I've been guilty of it. Everyone else has been guilty of it. It fucking does happen. But if you're tired, uncomfortable, it can happen. But no, like usually recording is fine. Just last time we recorded an album, our last album, we did that during over the lockdown, so it was kind of quite strict on how we could do it. So we have a friend who has a studio. He is like a recording lecturer, so we just kind of go in and do it when it was like possible. So we'd end up doing like 13-hour shifts in the studio, like morning to middle of the night.
Wow.
Just to kind of get it all in. I think I recorded the last note of the bass of the Parkan album at something like 4 a.m. It was like so dumb, man.
That's a long
Because it's a great
time.
Yeah, like I could since like lockdown and stuff, we couldn't really like have multiple days in a row. It could only just be when we're like kind of allowed to do it. So we had to cram as much as we could into each session, and that was dumb. That was like really dumb.
No, I mean, like, I don't think it's dumb. Like, that's if I had a choice, I mean, I'm a small band. If I had a choice, I'd love 13 hours. I mean, I'm sure you get fucking ear fatigue and shit, and like, you don't want to hear the click track beeping at you for that long, but like,
oh yeah, you hear your dreams, man. You're in your dreams.
Yeah, and you see like the bars and shit, and like, yeah, I could. So, when you prepared for that, obviously you did your homework before you entered the studio, and you guys were all set to do it. Then, correct? Or like, no, we shouldn't, or
like, yeah, it's a bit difficult, like because we couldn't actually like get into a space to rehearse together. Like our practice space at that point, it kind of got it's really weird. So we got locked out of our practice space because it's like a kind of commercial unit at a point. The people who owned it were like, right, since the lockdown is happening, no one can come in here because we don't have the right insurance for it. But it turned out that wasn't the case, and they just hadn't paid their electricity bill, and they were like cycling electricity off like another site, and they didn't want anyone to find out, so they just locked everyone out. Then when we're allowed to be back in, completely unrelated to lockdown and stuff, the roof of the practice space caved in, so we had to like shut down the place. So in the weeks leading up to recording that album, we got very little rehearsal time in for various reasons. Like we couldn't get in because the place was run by like, sketchy people. Then we couldn't get in because the fucking hallway roof caved in, so we couldn't actually physically reach all our equipment. It was fucking bizarre.
Why the hell that happened?
Eventually, who knows, man? Who knows? I like to keep saying it's the universe. The universe is against me. It's like, oh, this is going well for you. You got this sorted.
Yeah.
Got to keep it ripping.
Was the building old?
Relatively, like most buildings in Scotland were built in like the 70s and 80s, so not like hugely old.
Oh, I just picture like I have picture things with Stonehenges that look like Stonehenges and like fucking like, wooden roofs.
not quite, man. It was like an actual like industrial like warehouse. But it was fucking interesting timing on the universe's part. So yeah, it just meant like nothing to do with the lockdown. We just delayed because of a fucking structural error in the building while during the lockdown.
That's crazy. You might have a curse on you. I don't know.
That's what I think, man. Like I know, I'm grateful for how well the band does and stuff, and all the places I get to see. But it does feel like we're cursed at points. Like nothing is as straightforward as it should be.
Well, we've been together for a long time, so I think like you're ready for anything, really. Honestly, just getting the punches, as they say. Yeah. So,
yeah, I would say one thing, we got really good at rolling with stuff. Like if things happen, we can just kind of deal with it. But and just the frequency of things happen. In fact, right, even in 2 weeks' time, we're going over to the Netherlands to play 2 gigs, and I got these like amazing flights. Like we found like perfect flights that are like super cheap and stuff. And then literally yesterday, the outbound flight got cancelled by an airline, so we now have to take the most convoluted route. It's just like it's has become so complicated and unnecessary for no reason.
So, does your you're on a label, correct?
Yes, we're currently on Gorehouse Productions,
and they treat you pretty good, and like are able to give you all these flights that you're talking about. And I mean, have they been pretty good to you, like as far as the label goes?
Yeah, as far as labels, yeah, they've been good. They funded like last time stuff. It's not really the label that deals like flights and stuff. It's more like guarantees you get from tours and things. So like all that comes from like the fee we get paid and things. But yeah, I mean overall, I can't complain about Carl so much. He's been a nice guy. I've known Carl for a while. He took a chance on us back in the day, so and it worked out. He got us over to America and things.
Yeah, that's pretty good considering like where you're from, like a tiny town. You said.
Yeah, man. For
something I had never asked, like you guys have, I guess for the audience and like young people listening, like how's endorsements work with you guys? Do you have any like instrument endorsement, etc.?
Yeah, a few, I think. So I've got an endorsement from a company called Waghorn Guitars, which is a UK-based custom luthier.
Okay, I've heard
so
of him.
So he built me like a custom bass and stuff, and I'm gonna endorse it from him. Our guitarist, he's endorsed by Ormsby Guitars in Australia, so he gets like good deals with them. He gets like a custom and things. Our endorsements, we got our drummer just got a stick endorsement. I can't remember what the company's called, but he's gonna announce that soon. But he's got custom party can sticks, so that's pretty helpful, especially when you play drums and break stuff all the time.
Are they going to be like colored? Are they going to be colored, like colored wood?
Oh yeah, no,
they should be.
He's got like colors on, man. It looks awesome.
So like, I guess a lot. I've actually noticed like a couple local bands actually said like, man, how could I get endorsed? But like, again, I think, and you could probably chime in, like, you really have to have like quite a following and a really good social following, correct? Because that's what companies want. They want you to sell their stuff basically for them.
Each company will have their own criteria. So some companies want you to do X amount of days on the road. Some companies want you to have X amount of following. Just anything to kind of advertise them. I got my endorsement because we had a lot of tours lined up at that point. So they just set on a touring schedule, like a Spotify plays and stuff like that. And like, all right, cool, that makes sense. I'll give you this deal. And that's good. I was very happy with that.
That makes sense. I mean, like, obviously these aren't like any local gigs, because I feel like some like young people think that like they're going to play a few shows locally that a company's going to try to give them stuff. And I'm like, I didn't chime in, but I know how that kind of works. And I know my band doesn't do enough for any kind of that stuff, but I feel like that kind of information is important to lay out there for anybody.
No,
listening.
definitely.
Yeah.
You need to manage your expectations if you know what you want.
Right. And the company isn't just going to endorse you because you're in a band. You really have to like do stuff. Like it basically, it's always going to be hard work no matter what you do, as far as
Fortunately, like being in a band is all about making yourself like a marketable entity, no matter how extreme your music is, which is the killer part of it.
That's good to know if anybody's listening to that. So I guess any other crazy stories, since so far it's been really, I mean, you told us some crazy shit, but like it's been good that you're still like haven't given up aside from that 5 days you flipped out. But
I think 5 days out of 13 years isn't too bad.
No, I
Uh,
mean,
I don't know, man, like absolute fucking mental ones.
any weird venues like that got hostile with you, or like even though you were on contract to play it and it wasn't exactly what you thought, or little things like that.
we managed to piss off a few venues, and kind of understandably, because we always throw out like inflatables during our set, like just to get everywhere.
Yeah.
Like we're playing a venue in Philadelphia one year, and we threw like a giant inflatable whale into the audience, and people were like just destroying the lights with it and stuff. The sound guy eventually appeared and confiscated his giant inflatable whale and impaled it on his big spike outside. He was fucking furious. Which I get, but at the same time, like, oh well, you boot party can, what'd you expect?
I mean, how much do okay, this is fine. How much do you spend in like inflatables? Do you have like an endorsement for that or anything? Like a
I don't know, I
company?
fucking wish that'd be the one endorsement would be like really, really useful.
Hey, anybody
Thankfully-
listening who owns inflatables, party cannons, your guys.
Yeah, please, that'd really help. We're kind of got to the point where people would turn up with inflatables to gigs, so we can kind of bank on that helping, and that keeps costs down. But I think when we last went to America, I think I spent something like 300 to 500 pounds on beach balls in Wales, and that was for like a 3-week tour.
Let's go to Family Dollars. You know what Family Dollars out here, do you?
Not in
Well,
Scotland.
when you come out here, go down to some Family Dollars. They're basically like a
There's a Dollar Tree and a Family Dollar, and everything's it's supposed to be $1.
well,
Oh, nice.
Now they've increased the prices because we have
Right.
inflation. So the dollar store is no longer $1. It's like $1.25 for everything.
Oh, so it's just the store now. It's just not
No.
the dollar store anymore. Just the store.
it's still relatively cheap there. But if you're ever on tour and you see them because they're fucking everywhere, that would be probably the place you'd want to get inflatables.
Oh yeah, absolutely. So
Yeah.
way to stop. I remember like buying an entire crate of inflatables in Walmart because we ran out. I was like, fuck me. Like, this is a life right here.
That's funny. I've never heard of you guys other than what Brandon told me. So like, I definitely gotta check this out now because again, I like to hear people's stories without knowing who they are exactly. To me, that makes it more exciting to hear that.
No, you know.
And, but I definitely want to see this now. All these inflatables because I feel like, yeah, like I think that energy helps because once in a while you go to a show and somebody's hitting a beach ball or something like an inflatable like cock, and it's like you just hit it and it's like it makes people it brings out the children in you, like having a good time, music, and you guys definitely got a good marketing here because of what you're doing.
No, sure, man. It seems to go down well in most places. We're playing a really cool festival next weekend, but I'm kind of wondering how we're going to go down. It's called Incineration Fest. Like our actual booking agent runs it. He's a really good agent. It's a really good festival, but it's kind of there's a lot of like black metal bands playing, and the stage we're on is like a fucking awesome lineup. But it's like us and Enslaved and Suffocation. So I wonder what the mix of the crowd's gonna be like. Every time we play London is amazing, but we usually play with bands that are kind of similar to us. So I'm excited to like play with some different bands, some new people. But I just hope they all get the vibe. But if you're doing it, don't get it. Fuck it. I'm sure I'll win them over.
Yeah, I don't. Do you guys get that shit a lot? Like people not understanding the crossover, or
Not really, to be honest. Usually the kind of gigs we play, it's kind of. I think the kind of people who come to those gigs would kind of get. So this is the first time in a while we're doing an actual big crossover. So I'm interested to see how it goes.
I feel
Usually,
like,
however,
yeah, I feel like, I guess this is for the metalheads. Like, stop with your elitist shit, please, because like, I like going to a show where it varies. It's still metal, but like it's a different kind. Because if I went to a black metal show and it was all black metal, I'd be blast beated out. I mean, I like variety too. I still like blast beats, but if the music's like entail is different than the next, it's like, hell yeah, like I don't know. I just
yeah, I
feel
can
like,
get it. I can get it.
yeah.
Yeah, so it'll be a cool mix of bands, man.
Yeah, because like I said another podcast, like my old band once opened up for like Arsis and like Sonata Arctica, two different bands, and it was amazing. Like there should be more of this, like technical death metal and like fucking symphonic European metal. Like what's wrong with that?
That's an interesting lineup. I mean, I can see it work. We went on a tour supporting Gwar last year. That's pretty different. So I mean, the music's very different, but it really worked. Like the vibe was there. Because obviously Gore got a lot of fun. We're a lot of fun live. It's still quite extreme music. Like Gore got extreme content when like disemboweling people and stuff.
Right.
So, but initially I was like, oh, this is gonna be weird. But when I went there, I was like, no, this is actually perfect. This is so good.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, they're kind of like basically an entertaining like audience band who's shooting blood everywhere. But
Yeah.
that's funny. You guys get shit for a fucking inflatable whale, but they always like douse the place with their fake blood and guts and shit. Barf. I've actually never seen Gore live. I probably should have went when they came by here.
I saw
Oh,
him
that was
in
amazing.
2007.
Damn it.
That was the messiest show I've ever been to.
It's the best band I've ever seen live. First time I saw them, they had Voivod supporting, and when I left, there was like something like an inch of blood left on the ground.
Oh my god.
It's insane, man.
Oh,
Like when we went on tour of Gore, this is just like a dumb story.
Sure.
We went on tour of Gore, and I bought a white Gore shirt, and I went, this is gonna get messy. So what I'm gonna do is, I'm gonna put this in my bag. I'm not gonna wear it until I get home. And I wore it once, and I put it in the washing machine and dyed it pink by accident.
Wow.
All that effort did not get sprayed by fucking Gore blood. I just fucked up myself.
Pink is the new thing, you know.
Pink is
Oh,
the
yeah,
new
yeah,
white,
yeah.
I guess.
Yeah, sure, pretty much. Nice. Damn. Any other crazy story? I mean, yeah, this is pretty cool. Like all these random ones I'm hearing.
Yeah, and no, nothing else to like too like fucking metal.
Oh,
Like
that's okay.
anytime I've been on tour in America, like everyone's been dead nice. Like they let us shoot our guns and stuff, and that's pretty crazy to us. But I said
Wait, who?
America's listening. Like
Wait, who's
anytime
shooting
we go to
guns?
America, anytime we go to America, we always find people that let us just shoot guns and stuff,
Oh,
which is really crazy to us because we don't have guns in Scotland. But I'm sure the Americans listening, like, oh yeah, that's normal. That's like fine.
yeah, a little bit.
Here in America, we love our guns.
Yeah, I think it's a lot of fun, man. But we stayed at one guy's house in Florida, and he had always like homemade Molotov cocktails, so he just let us throw in his garden.
The fuck? That's a Florida thing.
I would
to
say
do.
that's definitely sounds like
Yeah.
a Florida thing.
Yeah, oh yeah, it was like proper Florida, man. It's insane.
Nice. Are you got any plans to come back over here soon, or it's gonna be a bit?
We got something in the works. It'll be announced soon, I think. But we'll be back sooner than you think.
Audience, pay attention to this. They're gonna announce something later. Well,
Yeah.
By the
it's
time this
coming.
airs, it
It's
might be
coming.
announced.
yeah, probably. You're right.
Are you guys
potentially,
plan on?
if-
Is there going to be a possible Indiana stop by? Because that's where Ed and I are actually from. Anywhere relatively close to the
Potentially,
Midwest hell.
potentially. My my American geography is quite bad, but I'll send you the tour route and I'll let you know.
Right on.
Right on.
We notice sadly a lot of some tours come through Indiana and some skip us, and I kind of wonder what that is. And one day I'll get an answer, but maybe because we suck, I'm not sure.
We're a flyover state. At least that's what that country
What-
song says.
What's the is in Indiana that people usually play? I'm trying to remember. Have I been to Indiana?
We got our that's Grand Rapids, that's Michigan. Never mind. We got
Indianapolis is the-
Indianapolis,
There's Indianapolis and there's
Fort Wayne.
Fort Wayne.
Guarb
then-
just played here not too long ago.
Yeah, Indianapolis and Fort Wayne, and I think are probably the two biggest as far as like places.
Fort Wayne, maybe been Fort Wayne. Yeah, you know, guys. I know. Hopefully, anyway. But I'd like to go to Indiana if I've not been.
Right on. And we're okay.
You'll see a lot of corn.
Oh yeah, we've done like we've been to like Chicago and Illinois and stuff like that. We've been to Midwest states before, so
Yeah.
we've seen the cornfields, man.
Sorry.
Yeah,
It's good, man.
Chicago's
No, we're-
only a couple hours from us. Like
Yeah,
at least for me, I think it's about what is it, about an hour and a half for you, Ed?
About
No,
two.
Yeah.
where I live in Scotland is mostly fields anyway. It's like being back at home.
But nicer. You-
Yeah, it's got its charms. Charms.
it just looks like a nice scenery up there, just from the pictures and videos.
Yeah, man. I mean, if you go to Scotland and you like hills and stuff like that, you'll definitely enjoy it.
I always think I don't know why, and I think of like other European countries also that like it's still stuck there, and you people still live in like log cabins and kind of dress
No,
like. But obviously you don't. But my dumb ass head, like I always assume Swedish people still have the old outfits and play like folk
No.
music, but it's not the case, obviously.
yeah, it's sometimes when we go abroad, people are amazed that Scotland has like running water and things. Like they think it's like a primitive village. One guy we met in Nashville, he's like, I didn't know you guys were Scottish. I thought your guys were Czechoslovakian. He's like, I've got some news for you, man. Not a country anymore.
Oh, damn.
Is that Czechoslovakia isn't now the Czech Republic?
It's not even a Czech Republic anymore. It's called Czechia and Slovakia.
Damn, that's why I failed fucking history and
They don't teach us a whole lot over there unless we're at war with them, and that's just because they
Oh,
want,
it's fair.
they want to propagate things. Because we're for some
Yeah,
reason
well,
always at war with someone here in America. We always have to be fighting. So that's a completely different topic for a different
Right.
podcast.
That's
yeah,
where
yeah,
the gun-
totally.
that's where the guns come from. But anyway. Hell yeah.
But no, I do love America. Like it's probably my favorite place to tour. Everyone's so nice. Everyone's so different from the UK. It's a whole different world, man.
Well, we try. I think a lot of us are grateful for bands that like make their way out here, and we do. Well, for most of us, we do our best to like make them feel welcomed, because you know their music means a lot. And like I love a lot of European bands, and it's like awesome to meet them. It's like holy shit, you know, it's cool.
That's
Yeah.
all, man. Like, I remember when I first started going to gigs in Glasgow and stuff, and I'd just meet American people for the first time ever. Like, holy shit, there's actually Americans here. This is mad. It's like unbelievable to see these people.
Yeah. It's the
I always
music.
feel like
Mm.
Americans give a bad vibe to the rest of the world because I feel like they all think we're arrogant assholes, which I could see because I do feel like sometimes America does come off like a bunch of assholes.
I mean, I think tourists are like a different breed. Like, British tourists are some of the worst. But if you meet like a British band or like a Scottish band or something, they're always very nice and down to earth. But like tourists, just like, especially like the UK, we've got such a rep for just going places and getting belligerently drunk and just like fucking things up. I don't think bands just do that. I think bands a bit more like grateful to be there.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Well, we can probably get close to wrapping this up. Now, what we've been doing, I don't know if you've been able to check out any of the episodes we have out that are released right now or not, but at the end of every episode, we include a song from the band. That way the listener is able to actually hear the band's music from who we just interviewed. So if there's a specific song that you would like to have on here, you can send it to me. I can add it to the end of the episode.
Sounds good, man. I'll send you a song from a new album called Grass Obliteration that's got Don from Waking as Ever doing guest vocals.
Hell
It's a
yeah.
nice short song, really fast, got a big breakdown in the middle. I think people like that one.
Right on. Again, you want to give a little bit of a plug of where they can check your band out, anything where they can find out, like on Spotify, they can find you on Facebook.
Yeah, you can find us there, Facebook, Instagram, Spotify, Twitter. If you go to party-canon or party-canon, however you want to do it, .com, you'll find all our information. You'll find our merch store. You'll find booking info. You'll find management info. You'll find everything, man. It's got all links to our socials, got links to our YouTube and things like that. Even if you just Google Party Cannon Band, we'll definitely come up.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure you're the only one out there. So
Yeah.
Yeah, you'll find, if you Google Party Cannon Band, you'll find hundreds of articles about our logo. Then you'll eventually find our social media pages.
It's funny because I've talked to several people that we're going to interview you. They're like, I've never heard them, but I know who they are because they all recognize your logo. Like I said, you stand out so much. They've seen your stuff. They might not have heard you, but they all recognize you.
Exactly, I think, man. Like, I've met a few lecturers from universities around the UK, and they say they cover our logo in their arts and marketing courses and things like that. So it's like actual, like fucking scholarly people covering it at university. You go to a lecture and you'll have to learn about the Party Cannon logo.
you've made it big. Then you
Yeah.
have made it big. If
Yeah,
they
it's
talk about you.
Marketing
That
genius.
is really,
Yeah.
yeah, it's really fucking weird, man.
And you thought of that logo, correct?
Yeah, I think it was just kind of came
Damn.
to us like, oh, going to be called Party Cannon. Let's just rip off the Toys R Us logo. And we commissioned this guy called or I actually not gonna name him. Commission's guy to make the logo, but then he did like a t-shirt design for us, and he did a good job. So I went back to him for another shirt design. He just disappeared, took money, and fucked off. They'd appear back on Facebook every now and again, like just post like insane conspiracy theories, and then disappear again. So I spent ages trying to hunt him down. Then he eventually came back, and I went, right, I left a review on his page. Don't work with this guy. He still owes me like $100. He ripped me off on a shirt design. And then he turned out he lived in like a tent, and he was like absolutely feral and insane. And he was accusing everyone of being like he accused everybody of being pedophiles and being part of a pedophile cult and stuff. And yeah, it was really bizarre.
That's a
Then
whole
he
nother-
made his own.
yeah.
Then he made his own party cannon page and started pretending to be in the band. It was really weird.
Wow, like I mean, back on the subject of strange, like I feel like people that start doing like shirt designs or merch, they usually do good and then they fucking disappear.
Yeah.
I've had that experience. Brandon has that experience too, right?
I have several.
Isn't that weird? Like I'm gonna
Oh, it's
start a
like a
shirt printing business and logos, and then they go bizarre and they fucking disappear. Like
I have my own conspiracy about merch designers. I think they're all the same person. Like this is
Just
for
keep
real.
starting different business.
I've started getting on Fiverr. I'm gonna release some secrets here to anyone out there listening needs some tips. I get on Fiverr, and you can find people that will actually make designs for you for relatively cheap, but every single one of them that I've dealt with, they all come from Indonesia. And
Yes, there's a lot of good artists in Indonesia, man.
a lot of the people that I've talked to, all their artwork is very similar to the next person. So it's like, are these all the same person with a different username and you're just communicating with the same person? But I've never had an issue with them just taking the money and never giving me anything. But I did have an issue with someone, again, he ended up being from Indonesia just before I was on Fiverr. He charged us $500 for a design, and he had logos. He'd done stuff for like big bands like Whitechapel. He's done stuff for like Black Dahlia Murder. He had all these. I don't know if he really did them or not. He just literally had that in his portfolio. And he won at $500. And I was like, man, that's a lot of money, but whatever. So we sent him something and we got it back, and it looks really good. But then I noticed at a show, like when we just had these shirts pressed and printed, and the first show, there was another band playing, and he had his own merch for his own little recording stuff he was doing. It was the same goddamn artwork.
No, really.
Like ours was like a big octopus, and everything else, it was the same exact octopus. Like I was like, who did that? He's like, well, I just got that image. He's like, it's just a static image you get off the internet. I was like, what? So we paid $500 for this guy who didn't even draw the fucking octopus. He literally just found a thing on the internet and just converted it, made it, and like did his own thing. He didn't actually do everything like he claimed he was going to do. Like, to me, that was like, what the fuck did I pay $500 for?
Yeah, man, that's fucked. You got fucked there, man.
Yeah. So, like I said, the shirts did well. They sold and everything else, but it still kind of chaps my ass a little bit thinking that I spent $500 and he didn't even actually draw the damn shit.
Yes, you should definitely kick off about that, man.
But it is what it is at this point. I just I've been getting on Fiverr and I pay like $50 for a design and it comes back pretty fucking good. So
Good, man. Yeah, if it works, man. It works. I'm sure there's a lot of good guys on Fiverr.
that's the route that I've been going. Everyone asks how we've always had great shirt designs. I was like, yeah, I just get them on Fiverr. They're like, some people get, I'll say the word butthurt about it because they're like, well, you're not supporting local artists. Well, motherfuckers, I don't want to pay $500 again for someone supposedly local, and it's not even something they even drew. So,
But man, if you're getting quality stuff, that's the main thing.
yeah, I was like, it's our money that I'm spending. Where does it matter who does the artwork at this rate?
Right, I had to play like
Right.
6 dive bars to make that money.
Yeah.
Yeah. Shit.
But yeah, it's definitely been a pleasure talking with you.
Yeah.
Yeah,
We
same,
def-
man. Had fun. Cheers for having me on.
Yeah, we definitely have I completely went full on dumbass at that point. What I was about to say. No, we definitely appreciate you having you on, talking with you. We enjoy hearing the stories and stuff that our guests have shared, and you had some pretty interesting ones and funny ones. So,
Cheers, man. I'm glad you enjoyed. Cheers for having me on.
Oh yeah. Everybody
Yeah.
check out Parby Cannon.
yeah, everyone check out Party Cannon, and anyone that wants to be on an episode of Dark Side of the Scene, just send an email to Brandon@darksideofthescene.com and we'll get you scheduled on a future episode. But we're going to roll on out here. Chris, do you want to say the name of the song one more time?
This is Grass Obliteration from our album Volumes of Vomit.
Awesome. All right, well, everyone,
All right.
take it easy.
Yeah, catch you guys later.
See you.
I've been initiated. I am a drug user. Fuck the police.